You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay, and this is...
the absolutely marvellous, spiffing, wonderful world of Wardini books.
Oh, it's getting longer each week. Oh, I love it. You got an 8 out of 10 for that one.
That's not bad, seeing as I've forgotten again and I just thought it up on the spot.
And how you been going, Lou?
Yeah, really well. Yeah. Really well, thank you.
That's good. And the world of book selling is going well for you? That's great.
We do.
And of course, you are everywhere. You're in Hastings, you're in Napier. No, you're not in Hastings. You're in Havelock.
Yeah.
And you're in Napier, and you're on the web. You're everywhere.
We are indeed.
And we have got some fabulous books to talk about today, and the first one is called The Crane Guy.
Crane Guy, a game of I Spy from up high.
I love it.
And it's by Sally Sutton, so it's a New Zealand publication. New Zealand author, illustrated by Sarah Wilkins, and it's already amazing on the cover, isn't it?
It's fabulous.
Why wouldn't you pick that up?
And just as an aside, my 5-year-old grandson has just started playing I Spy, and we get more fun out of making the I Spy with my ginormous green smelly eye, just keep adding a bit.
By the time you've done that, you've forgotten what you aspired in the first place.
That's right.
This could be for him, because of course, if you are a crane guy, you can see everything because you're up so high. So it is a game of I Spy. That's exactly what it is. Crane guy up so high, building towers in the sky. Tell me what you spy. Something beginning with S.
I wonder what that could be.
Can you see from there?
No, I'm sorry. Oh, that sparrow?
There's something on the S,
Yes.
It's not a sparrow, it's a seagull, but I'll forgive you because it's quite far away. And there we go, seagull soaring, skimming, swooping, so loads of alliteration and beautiful language, as well as the amazing pictures. And the I Spy, something beginning with W.
Yes, I don't know what that is.
Ken?
Yes, I can see water.
Well done.
Is that a Kiwi book?
Yeah. So it could be. I don't know what cityscape it might be. I don't know if the illustrator's a Kiwi. I'm only making a presumption there. I'd have to do some more research. So there's all sorts of whooshing and swishing and washing. So now we have onomatopoeia as well.
Oh, look at that. What does the onomatopoeia mean?
It's when a word makes the sound that you think it's going to make, like a whoosh.
Oh, right.
Or a swish or a bang.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. It makes the sound of the sound that it makes, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I really liked this little detail. So the crane guy is up high there. The seagull's still there. The water's still there. But also in his cab, he's got some pictures taped up. And you can only see them. It's just a little detail. And there's a little girl that you think maybe is his daughter.
Yes.
And there's a feather, maybe from that seagull that he has his lunch with. I don't know. Yeah. I'm making up extra bits of story.
He's got a little bottle of juice there.
Yeah. I hope it's juice. Yeah. He's operating heavy machinery. So something beginning with B, etc. And we go on like that, and I just think it's the most wonderful book. And there is so much to look at.
There is.
And I think the illustrator has done such a marvellous job of making a community there. Because if you were thinking about representation, which people in publishing do a lot these days, as they absolutely should, then you might see yourself in there. There are younger people, older people, people of all different colours, wearing all sorts of different things that may or may not indicate spiritual beliefs, abilities, disabilities, cats, dogs, musical instruments. Do you know, there's just...
It's a cosmopolitan society, isn't it?
It absolutely is, so I think that for me is a picture of utopia.
Yes, it is. That's right. It is. Yes, it is, indeed.
We better not say that, because, look!
Oh, Daddy, it's Daisy.
There's Daisy.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah. So there we go. I just think that's marvellous. And then at the end, you've got lots of other things beginning with those letters that you can
what a great book.
spy, isn't it?
And it's much better, I think, than playing I Spy, because if when we're driving along, you say, okay, I Spy with my big ginormous eyes, something beginning with, and then there could be so many options.
There could be.
Whereas in that book, you just got to have a big look around the page, and there it is.
And if you're playing with a 5-year-old, something beginning with C, Grandad. Yeah. And it's a cow, but it was like 17 kilometres back there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell us about... this is more up my alley. Garlic and the Vampire.
Look at her.
Look at that.
Look how cute she is.
Oh, it's actually a garlic.
It is.
I thought you meant garlic as in warding off the vampires, but no, it's a piece of garlic.
It's both. So it's a graphic novel.
Oh, I like those.
Bree Paulson is the storyteller and the illustrator, and she's done the most amazing job. So look at those sort of autumnal, beautiful, earthy colours.
They are.
Because what's happened here is you've got Witch Agnes, who is a human, and she has cast this spell to create special vegetables that are anthropomorphized vegetables. They're, so little garlic is a person. she's a she, and carrot is a they, and celery is a he, you know, and they're just named by their vegetable names, but they are actual living little beings. And what she's done that for, Witch Agnes, is because they've created a community garden. And so garlic gardens and creates more garlic to sell at the community market for the villagers, okay? I'm really down with that idea,
yes.
as long as you remember that the garlics that garlic sells are not human little garlics.
That's right.
Do you know?
Yes.
Let's just get that out of the way. All right, so they live in this community and they garden, and then they go once a week or something to the market and sell their wares, and it's quite gorgeous. And Garlic herself is a little bit of an anxious person. She's got a bit of an anxious personality. She overthinks everything and she gets quite nervous about stuff. And so they're all gardening one day, and then I think it's Celery that first goes, there's smoke coming out of the big old spooky house way down in the valley, up the mountain in the woods, you know. And they're like, oh, and Witch Agnes is like, oh, well, that's like a vampire's house, and he's been away for years and years and years. What if the vampire's back? And they all start to panic.
Yeah.
And they're like, well,
Yes.
we're vegetables. He's not going to eat us, is he? But he might nom all the humans in the village, you know, and they're like really worried about that. And they're all like, I think it's Celery. Celery's a bit of a meanie. And Celery says, vampires don't like garlic. Garlic, I think you should go and vanquish him.
Yeah.
And everyone's like,
Thanks for that. Yeah,
sorry,
nice one.
mate, but he's right.
Yeah.
And anyway, and Witch Agnes said, well, Celery, you can go with her, seeing as it was your idea. And he's like, damn it. So off she goes, and she's going to vanquish the vampire. But of course, when she gets there, he's actually quite a nice vampire. But anyway, there's a lot more to it than that. But it really is about community and friendship, lots of different personality types, and again, representation among vegetables. You know, it was just gorgeous.
And a story of life, really, isn't it?
It really is. And I was reading it thinking anybody could read this. You know, if you've got a clever 4 or 5-year-old, you could sit together and read it. And then probably reading age, I would say, of maybe about 7 and 8. And then I loved it too. And I think she's the most wonderful
comics.
illustrator.
Yeah. It looks great. Who's it going to appeal to? Is it going to appeal to littlies or?
Yeah, everybody, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. And she's really good. She's been given a steak
She
as
looks a bit
well.
nervous
She's
too.
there with a steak, and she's terrified.
Just as another
Yeah.
aside, I was watching an episode of Star Trek.
Oh,
last
yeah.
night. Do
Yeah.
you like Star Trek? Do you ever
I
watch it?
watched an episode the other day with my mum.
Yeah, and it's one of the latest series of Star Trek, not the original. And this woman pulled out a book.
In
And-
Star Trek?
Yeah, and her roommate said, "My goodness, what's that? Is that a book?"
Is that in a book? I've heard of such
And
things.
that's exactly what she said.
Yeah.
And the other woman said, "Yes, it's come down through generations in my family. It was a copy of Alice in Wonderland. Up can be down, down can be up." But books obviously had gone by the board. Can you see that happening?
Not anytime soon. I suppose, you know, when we think of these, when we've got flying cars, maybe we'll just have digital books. I don't
Yeah.
know. But I think we'll still have libraries that you can go and still find paper books, I think, as a...
Yeah. You can't beat it, can you? The feel of a book.
No, you
The
can't.
turning down
and the
of the
smell,
page.
and this one, because the paper's so gorgeous and it's been printed in colour, has a beautiful book smell.
Even
Yeah.
old books smell good, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes.
I love it.
Sometimes.
Tell
Depends what's been spilt on
Yeah,
them.
that's right. Tell us about the murder rule.
Yeah, look at this. So this is the advanced copy. So it'll be tidied up, you know, it's not as scruffy as this in the real version that's out in the shops now. So it's Dervla McTiernan, who is an Irish writer. I bet you couldn't
Yes, I
guess.
guess.
But she lives in Australia now. But she set this in the States. I think she lived in Maine at some point in her life. And she was a lawyer. And this is got quite a legal sort of background to the story. So in this, there is a young woman called Hannah, and she lives with her mum Laura. They're the Rokeby family. And Hannah's mother is an alcoholic and a very needy woman. And we meet Hannah when she's sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night to leave. Hannah is a law student. She's leaving for the good of herself and her mother, because when she was younger, she found her mother's diary and found out all these awful things that happened to her mother that mean a mother's like she is now.
Yeah.
And Hannah has got wind of the fact that a guy is perhaps going to be released from prison, who's clearly, we don't know how, but involved in her mother's past traumas. And Hannah decides that she is going to make sure this guy stays in prison. And she's got the legal skills. She's like third-year student. She's doing really well. She's a very sharp cookie. And she finagles her way into a program in Virginia where she's not a student, but she lies and makes it up and says she is and gets all the pays to have someone fake her ID, and gets on this project called the Innocence Project.
No, I've heard of that.
Yeah, which is where, as you know, a group of lawyers get together and they dig around and get people who have been wrongly convicted out of prison, and they're trying to get this guy out of prison. Mike, his name is Michael Dandridge, and Hannah infiltrates to make sure he stays in prison. And of course, there's a lot more to it than that. So off she goes, and she makes relationships with people that she doesn't really want to make. She doesn't want to make friends. She just wants to get this sorted, get back to her mother, who is very needy and needs her. But things start to fall apart for Hannah fairly early on, and we've got Laura's diary as well that Hannah found, and there are extracts from the diary that tell us what happened to Laura as a very young woman before she had Hannah. Yeah.
Is there a twist?
Oh, there are many twists and turns. There are some that you think Dervlin McTiernan does a nice job of foreshadowing, and if you're a reader who reads a lot, especially in this genre, you go, is that going to be relevant later on? And you can pick them. But there are a few things that I didn't pick at all, so I like that. It makes you feel clever if you have picked the odd one, but you don't want to pick all of them because you want to be entertained and have that moment too. So she does a great job of that.
Is Hannah vindicated in the end? Is she on the crusade? Does the crusade work out the way she thinks it's going to work out?
I can't say that because that would be a massive spoiler. She goes on quite the journey, Ken.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, just remind our listeners, we want any of these fabulous books. Where do we get them?
Wardini Books, please. Thank you.
Till we meet again. Don't know where. That's the song, isn't it?
Don't know where. Don't know where.
But I know. Yeah, that's
we could carry on, couldn't we? That's another show.